Hello, my name is Jamie Howes, and I'm the director of dance at Colgan High School. And while things may look a little bit different this year for our CFPA Info Night, I am still super excited to share with you all of the wonderful things our program has to offer your students. Throughout this information video, I will be sharing clips and photos from various performances and events so that you get a little sneak peek into the life of a dance major here at Colgan. Before we dive into that presentation, I am going to share with you a little bit of my background so you can kind of see why I developed the program the way I have. So I am a graduate of George Mason University. I received my BFA in dance as well as my K through 12 teaching endorsement. Once I graduated, I immediately went to performing. I moved right to New York City, and I was lucky enough to perform uh, commercially in musical theater as well as in concert dance settings. So I've toured nationally and internationally and done some really fun and exciting things. Um, when I finished performing, I moved back to this area and I began my teaching journey. I started teaching as an adjunct dance professor at my alma mater at George Mason University. I also helped to orchestrate their summer dance intensive, and I also worked with arts administration for a local ballet company in Washington, D.C. So I've got a vast background in all aspects of the dance world. I have performing experience, I have teaching experience, and I also have arts administration experience. So I feel that has equipped me nicely to help develop this program and to grow it as it has so far and, continue to grow it into the future. So that's just a little bit about me. I will be showing you our Weebly page, and I'll talk a little bit about that. If you'd like to visit our Weebly page, that's kind of our CFPA Dance homepage, you can visit Colgan CFPA Dance weebly.com, and I will kind of show that throughout this presentation. So if you'd like to visit our Weebly page, you can read a little bit more about my background, but you can also explore through the site to visit the various dance pages. I have dance pages for dance 1, 2, 3, and 4 that involves coursework and documents like our syllabus, as well as our pacing guide that I normally use throughout the year. The Weebly page from this year hasn't exactly been updated from last year just because we are in a virtual format this year. So we are using Canvas as the whole county is right now. So I kind of kept our Weebly page as it would normally look in an in-person learning setting. So you can take a look what CFPA Dance looks like in more of a normal in-person setting. So that's kind of why I kept it that way. Feel free to look around that site. There's information on master classes that I've brought in the past. There's also video clips from various concerts, as well as our dance reel from um, previous performances that you can take a look to see what kind of style we like to perform in. So again, that's Colgan, CFPAdance.weebly.com, and I encourage you to take a look throughout. So moving through there, again, like I said, you can take a look and look through the coursework. You can look through the syllabus for Dance 1, 2, 3, just to kind of see the progression through the program that your student will be doing. But just to kind of give you more of an outline, a little bit more detail, we study various dance genres in this program. I focus our academic learning on ballet, modern, and jazz. However, we bring in master classes in all sorts of dance styles. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But in terms of what I work on in class, in school, those are the genres that we mainly focus on. So we start the year in ballet. We start with technique. We spend a lot of time in ballet technique. I feel that that's really important just so that we get all on the same page. And it is one of the founding styles of dance that I feel is really important for our dancers to come together and start working on to build throughout the rest of the year. So we start in ballet. We do that for quite a few weeks. From there, we move to ballet history and vocabulary. We will study the origins of the terms that we use, as well as history, where our art form came from. We will do that all throughout from dance 1, 2, 3, and 4. And by their senior year, your dancers will be studying contemporary ballet and how the classics have evolved throughout the years and how they're still being performed today with contemporary choreographers. So there's a steady progression through the program. I get a lot of questions on what style of ballet or what school of thought of ballet I teach. I like to say contemporary style. Our program is very much based in the contemporary style of dance. and more so leaning towards the modern genre. So my ballet is really for dancers who are working in that contemporary modern style. Personally, I was trained in the Italian style of ballet, the Cicchetti method. Um, and I know a lot of dancers have come from Vaganova background or other schools of thought. So we touch on all those. We learn all of them, but technique, I like to base it more around a contemporary style. So it's really eclectic, it's really athletic, and I think it's a really good challenge for our dancers. So it's definitely new. I feel it could be refreshing to train in a different way, and that's what I think is a really strong suit about our program. Um, but if you're not understanding who those people are that I was talking about, those terms, not to worry, that's what I'm here for. I will teach your student all about them. So not to fret, but just to give you a background in case you were curious. Okay, after ballet, we do dance history, we do ballet vocabulary, then we move to dynamic alignment. This is one of my favorite units. We talk about the body, we talk about nutrition, we learn about the bones. The freshman year dancers focus mainly on the foot, ankle, and lower leg, just so that we start to work up the body and they can understand the foundation, your feet, and how the anatomy works and how to prevent injury, how to nourish your body properly, and how to train the bones, the joints, the muscles surrounding the various body parts. And again, we work all the way through the top of the body. And the seniors end up working with the upper body and the port de bras. So again, there's a steady progression through the program. We work on conditioning and strengthening, and we do various exercises that will help dancers to recover and also to prevent injury. So I love that unit. It's really fun. From there, we go into modern, and this is where we normally start our choreography for our concerts. And I'll talk a little bit more about our concerts later. But we go into modern and we study again various schools of thought. We'll study Martha Graham, we'll study Horton, we'll study Lamone, we'll study the Taylor method. Again, if you don't know who these people are, that's my job, so don't worry about it. So a lot of various dance styles, and I really put a lot of emphasis on moving throughout the space, a lot of emphasis on artistry and body articulation. So it's a really fun unit. Again, that's when we start choreography for our concert. I do choreography for all 4 dance classes. We do have a choreography class that your students will take their junior year. Um, and so they will be doing their own pieces of choreography. So that's a really fun year. When your student gets to junior year, they get to create their own piece for our concerts. After modern, we go to jazz. We finish the year in jazz. Again, through modern and jazz, we do modern technique, jazz technique, we do modern history, we do jazz history. So we're learning about the evolution of our genres throughout. And then we normally finish the year with a special project. We will spend with our freshmen, we will spend the time studying various dance professions. So even if your student is not interested in going into the performing arts world professionally, they're going to learn about all the ways that their dance skills can translate into other careers and other professions. So your dancer will study various dance professions, and not necessarily just performers, but other ways they can learn how to take their skills and apply them to other interests that they'd like to pursue professionally. So that's kind of the coursework. Our biggest grades throughout the year will be our 2 concerts. We have 2 concerts. One is always in December, and one is in the spring, usually around May or the last week in April. Um, these are mandatory. The I get a lot of questions on, oh, what if there's a dance competition or a performance with the studio? I give the dancers ample notice. The first day of school, they know when their concerts are. I say, put it in your planners. Speak with your private studio directors about it. I've been happy to write notes of excuse for competition directors if they have to move their numbers earlier in the day or to another day. That's stuff that I'm always able to work out. But I will say that those are mandatory. And if there's any questions on that, feel free to reach out to me. I've never had an issue. We've always been able to work it out because, again, I give ample notice. But that's just something I like to say at the very beginning, that these concerts are mandatory. And our dancers want to be involved in it too. So those are our biggest grades. So your dancer, again, will be performing in their class piece, and they will have a tech week the week prior to the show, which is normally on a Friday and Saturday. So they will be required for some after school attendance. But again, lots of notice given. Um, there are other opportunities to perform in more than just the class piece. I bring in many working professionals to work with our dancers. Most recently, we've had Mr. Darrell Moultrie, who has worked with Beyonce. We had Kate Skarpatowska, who is a world-renowned choreographer based in Russia. She came in and worked with our dancers last year to set an incredible work. We recently had Mr. Owen Dillon, who is the Associate Director of Parsons Dance, set a work on our dancers. And those are all extracurricular opportunities. They are not required, but I offer those to your dancers if they'd like to be a part of more than just one piece in our concert. The way those work are through auditions. So it's welcome to all of our CFPA dance members. They will participate in an audition, and the artist at the time will go ahead and pick their cast. That is a full week of rehearsals. They learn the piece quickly. It's a really, really fun experience, and it's just a great resume booster. So I really recommend your dancers participate in those if they're able to. But again, it is not a requirement, just an opportunity. Um, we also do a National Honor Society for Dance piece. When your students are at the end of their sophomore year, they're welcome to apply to our National Honor Society for Dance. And they also have the opportunity to perform in a piece with that society. So that's a really great opportunity as well. We also have master classes throughout the year. I try to have one or two a month. And as I mentioned before, I bring various genres in and artists who work in very different styles. So in the past, we've had African dance, we've had movement theater, we've had Israeli folk dance. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember because there's so many. A rockette, we've had hip hop, we have tap, just so many various styles, just because I feel it's really important. Just because I'm not well versed in the dance doesn't mean I don't want your students to explore them. So I try to bring in very different styles from what we normally see. So they've been wildly successful, really fun. They are free to your students. They are free to your students. So again, I encourage them, if they're available, to attend as many as possible. So speaking of concerts and master classes, I do want to note that those are a part of our CFPA dance requirements. There are a few requirements that our dancers have to hit throughout each year. It's nothing crazy, but just a way for us to maintain the CFPA eligibility. So again, those include our performances, two performances a year, one in the winter and one in the spring. Also the master classes. So your dancer is welcome to attend all master classes if they'd like, but I require only four. Your dancer is welcome to take four in-house, meaning Colgan sponsored, or they can do two Colgan sponsored and two outside. I know a lot of our dancers attend outside studios, and there's often master classes that go on there or at conventions. So I am totally open to your dancer seeking out masterclass opportunities outside of Colgan. I only require that two are Colgan sponsored. Your dancer can also take masterclasses in other CFPA concentrations. So if they're interested in a theater masterclass, or they want to learn how to sketch or do a creative writing masterclass, by all means. We like to open all of our master classes off into other concentrations as well. So um, along with those requirements, we do require that our dancers pass a jury every year. So that's just a fancy word for a midterm. So each January, I will hold an assessment, checking in with our dancers, making sure that their technique has maintained strength consistently and is growing, and that they'll be ready to be moved on to the next level, dance one, two, three, or four. In that jury, the dancer will be assessed in ballet and modern, and we will also have an interview portion. So at that time, they will bring me their checklist to make sure that they're meeting all of their requirements, the performances, the master classes, and volunteer hours. Dancers will be required to do volunteer hours. And we'll just check in and we'll chat and we'll talk about goals. And for our upper classes, and that's when I kind of start talking to them about how the audition process for college works and things like that. So that's just a check-in point. Dancers are also required to attend various concerts of other concentrations. So they're required to attend an in-house performance, also an outside performance. So if we go on a field trip to see a show, a theater show, boom, check it off right there. And then they're just required to seek a performance in-house. So they can see Colgan orchestra show, a choir show, a theater show, whatever it is. We just like to make sure that they're supporting their other CFPA concentrations. So those are just a couple things on the checklist on the requirement sheet. You can also find that requirement sheet on our Weebly page. So I encourage you to check that out as well. Again, nothing too crazy or too difficult. I really don't like to require a lot of stuff outside of school. I will provide opportunities outside of class time, but I don't like to require it because I like when our students are involved in the school outside of dance. I feel like it connects the program to other parts of the school, but I also feel it makes very well-rounded, diverse students and just people in general. I played sports all throughout high school. I was in various clubs, so I really encourage that of our dancers. So many of the extracurricular performance opportunities and master classes, they're not all required. There's again 4 master classes required, but um, if they're not able to do a residency piece that semester, that's totally fine. Or if they want to push off all their master classes until second semester because they have Nutcracker or they're playing a fall sport, totally fine. Really flexible in terms of when master classes have to be done by. Really, the final deadline is the end of the year, making sure that we've got all of our checklist items nicely sorted. We do so much more than just learn about dance. We are a CFPA family. We At the beginning of each year, we do a CFPA meet and greet where we welcome our new freshmen, and our dancers are split into dance families. We do check-ins throughout the year, little Thanksgiving get-togethers. We do a holiday party. We do a CFPA end-of-year banquet. So it's so much more than just learning about dance. We're building a family, and that's what I think is most important to remember. The dancers that you have in the program right now, many of them might be friends with your students. If you go to outside studios, I encourage you to ask them about the day in the life of a dancer at Colgan. They're so welcoming and so generous that I know they'd be willing to share with you, whether it's through a phone conversation or if you want to reach out to them via email or social media. I'm sure the dancers that would be willing to share their experience with you. Um, just a couple of frequently asked questions that I get. Um, the biggest one is about how many dancers I accept each year. That varies each year based on the numbers that we get to audition. I will say I will cap it around 25 just because of room capacity. That's something that we do have to keep in mind. So that is the largest number that I'll really accept into the program. I have various numbers right now. So my sophomore class is about 16 dancers, whereas my senior class is 25. So it varies each year. It goes by a number system. I'll have 3 adjudicators with me on the audition day, and the sum of those will be tallied out. So we'll see where the clear cutoff is in terms of points. So again, those packets, the information, and um, the rubrics are available to you guys for you guys to take a look and to assess before your dancer um, prepares for the audition. So another frequently asked question is about scheduling and, is my dancer going to be able to do another elective? Yes. So while you can only have one main concentration in CFPA dance, I have a lot of dancers who participate in other performing arts genres. I have one dancer who is involved in almost all theater activities and performances and in theater class. I've got another dancer who is very strongly involved in the orchestra program. I have a lot of dancers in choir. So there's a lot of ways your counselor can work through your student schedule to make sure that they can participate in the other performing arts electives that they'd like to. So the only year that I would say is a little funky is junior year, just because that is the choreography class. So I'm going to talk about the choreography class just a little bit. Your dancers junior year, they will have me every day. That's a fun year. So they will be not only in their dance 3 class, but they will be participating in our composition and repertory class. That class involves a lot of workshopping, a lot of free play. It's almost as if it's a lab. Your dancer will be working in groups often and will be exploring and choreographing various solo and group works, and they will be presenting their very first piece in one of our dance concerts. So we'll choose, and the class will be split up. Some will be presenting in the winter concert, some will be presenting in the spring. The way that works is they are split into choreography pairs, and it's a little bit more in depth than this, but I won't bore you with all that information. But they're split into choreography pairs, and the pair will create a group piece together. I feel it's nicer to place two together as opposed to doing a whole group piece. It just gets a little bit more concentrated that way, and there's a little bit more focus if it's just working between two. So it's a really fun and exciting year, but again, that's a year that the counselors need to be a little bit more strategic and with making sure your dancer can get all of their electives in that they want to. But there's so many ways around that, so not something to worry about. One more question that I get, actually, there's a few more, but this is a main one that I get. What genre does the solo have to be in for the audition? And that is totally dancer's choice. I actually love to see the various styles that your dancers present. It can be tap, it can be uh, African, it can be ballet, it can be a classical variation, it can be modern. Whatever your dancer feels most comfortable doing, I would love to see it. I think that's what makes Colgan so strong is that we've got a lot of dancers from various training backgrounds and various focuses as well. So I feel our dancers are able to learn from one another. I have some dancers that are mainly focused in ballet and super strong in ballet, and modern is completely new to them. And then we've got dancers who are really strong in modern, and maybe jazz is not their strong suit. So everybody's learning from one another, and everybody's bringing their own flavor to this program, and I think that's what makes it so exciting and so fresh. So I think that's something I really like to hit home. There is not a specific genre I look for in the solo. I just look for your dancer to bring their very best. So whatever's going to show their strong suit and their personality, I encourage them to do so. In terms of the audition, I do get asked as well, um, do your dancer do the dancers, excuse me, have to be well versed in all of the audition techniques? Not necessarily, not necessarily. I'm looking for proficiency in each area. Modern, I've come to find is new to a lot of our dancers, and that's kind of the point of my program. So that's not something that I need dancers to know every single style of modern before they come to audition. I just need to see that they're adaptable. I need to see that they're willing to take risks. I need to see that they're, willing to break their habits and try something new. So while I do look for proficiency, and most of the dancers that we accept are across the board, hitting good marks in each three of the genres assessed, it is not necessarily that they have to be 100% fluent in each genre. So I do want to say that. I look for potential. I look for potential. If a dancer is not so strong in one aspect, but I can see, super strong potential, then I'm gonna look into that dancer. And that's something that I feel very strong about as a director. It's my job to grow the technique. As long as I can see the want and the hunger and the potential to do so, then that's all I could ask for. So, yes, your students will be assessed. Yes, there is a point system. I am not the only one that's assessing them. Again, I have um, uh, two working professionals that will come in and assess your dancers as well. But I want to stress the potential. That's really something that I want to see. Um, so again, I don't necessarily look for one specific genre has to be, at this level. I'm looking for dancers that, yes, are able to adapt, and I can see that they're going to be able to master this with my help and guidance. But it's not something that everybody has to be acing right now throughout. So I do want to stress that. I'm trying to think if I took a couple notes. I'm trying to think if there's any other frequently asked questions that I normally get. I hope I covered everything. I talked a lot. Sorry. But hopefully that answers most of your questions. Please feel free to reach out to myself or Miss Nelson, the one of the coordinators for the Center for Fine and Performing Arts, with any questions. Again, the rubrics are available to you for you and your dancer to look through and to read through to prepare for the audition. Again, it's going to be a class in ballet, modern, and jazz. It'll be a ballet bar, very brief ballet bar, a modern combination, and then a jazz combination as well. A minute and a half solo. That can be, this year, obviously, it's going to be in a virtual realm, so it's a little different. So your dancer will be receiving videos and they'll be submitting them back to us, and more information will follow on that. Um, and so the video of the solo can be from a performance, whether it's a competition or a showcase, or it can just be a film from a studio. Both are perfectly fine. At the end of your dancer's recording, I will ask them to record their answer to our interview questions. I will, at the end of my video, ask a question or two, to your student to answer at the end of theirs. So again, more information, on that, can be found in our CFPA, audition packets. So I'm trying to think. I think that's it. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. But I just want to stress that I know a few of you may be deciding between various concentrations. And while I hope you do consider dance, I have to say our colleagues at Colgan are exceptional. And no matter what program you choose to audition for, you will be so thrilled with the guidance and leadership from, each and every one of these teachers. And I will say, if your dancer chooses to audition for choir or theater, there are many opportunities for your dancer to be involved in the CFPA dance program. We hold, again, master classes that a few of them are open to the public, um, and we'll broadcast those. We also do a lot of collaboration. The CFPA dance students collaborate a lot with creative writing, choir, orchestra. We've had some cameos from all of those genres in our concerts before, music tech as well. So we're always working together and finding other ways to mesh all of the concentrations. So if your student is deciding between a couple, whatever one you choose, I think you'll be very, very happy. So I wish you all well in this audition process, and I hope you all are staying safe through this trying time. Again, I hope this was helpful to you. And again, check out colgancfpadance.weebly.com for more information, on class info, and check out some of our dance clips. Thank you all so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.